That's a physical applause. But get into the habit of whenever you see something meritorious, give a mental applause. The best way to do that is just say sadhu sadhu. If you can say it out loud, even better. But there will be circumstances in which you shouldn't be doing it. Even if you could, you shouldn't be. Because that will look out of place. And you look very odd. You don't need to stand out like a sore thumb. Right? So just give a mental applause. This is why I say, right, in the new year, wherever you see a meritorious deed taking place, in your village, at school, in the workplace, make sure that you engage in that merit through your mind. It may be just someone's making someone a cup of tea. As you walk past it, right, working past the kitchen, someone's making someone a cup of tea, or someone's offering someone a cup of tea. In your mind, you can just say sadhu sadhu. Have you played those games, those computer games, where there's one called Train Run or something? I can't remember the name now. So you got to keep running. Has everyone played Mario? Mario? I'm old school. Right, so Mario, you have Mario, Super Mario, who's got to run and who's got to collect these golden coins, and those coins enables him to power up and gives him extra lives and things like that. I want you all to be like Mario. These coins are the meritorious deeds that are happening. Mario misses some of them, and then a few moments later you realize, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. I was too hasty in my response. I shouldn't have said that. Sometimes it's at the end of the day you begin to realize this. Sometimes it's the next day. That's when you begin to regret, right? What I said to that person that day, that was just so below the belt. I shouldn't have said that. It was not nice of me to say that. But now it's after the fact. That's okay. At least you're beginning to realize it a day later. The problem is if you don't realize it at all. So you're beginning to realize this. What you need to afford you is that bit of time. So time can give you a great advantage to calculate your response before you go with your instinct. Because your instinct is going to be raga, dvesha, moha response. When you practice the Dhamma, your instincts are going to change. And then your response will be vita raga, vita dosa, vita moha response. Free of raga, free of dvesha, and free of moha. But right now, it will be through raga, dvesha, and moha. Right? So through the practicing of the Noble Eightfold Path, we remove raga, dvesha, moha from your mind. And then those responses are clear, free of defilements. But for that, as I say, you need some time. This is a way to buy some time. That's why I'm saying this is a coping mechanism. This is not Nibbana. It's just a coping mechanism. Another thing you could do is lend your ear. That's also a dana. You're lending a ear or lending an ear to somebody. If someone's angry, right, what they're looking for is somewhere to, they're looking for a bin, essentially. They've got some rubbish and they want to discard it. They're looking for a bin. Can you not be the bin? Say, this looks like a bin, doesn't it? If you turn it to the side. Yeah. Turn it to the side. On its side, now it looks like a bin, right? There's a hole. We can drop things in there. You got two of them. Why don't you become a bin for someone to discard their rubbish? One, it helps with your ego. If you can bring yourself, if you can make yourself humble enough to be somebody else's bin for their rubbish, that's really humbling. That it's you can practice humility and humbleness through that. And secondly, you can earn merit. Remember, this person is vexed. They're looking for a way to relieve themselves of vexation. How does one earn merit? Why is it if you offer a glass of water to somebody who's thirsty, why is that meritorious? Because you're helping somebody relieve themselves of vexation. Someone's angry. They need some way to vent their frustration and vent their anger. Are you not presented with an opportunity to earn merit? Why do you kick it? Why do you pass it by instead of making use of it? Someone's angry. They need to vent themselves of that frustration, their anger, and they're looking for somebody to take it. So I've got a ball to throw. I just need someone to catch it. And if you catch it, you earn merit. So who here doesn't want that ball? Are you ready then? I'm going to throw the ball at you. See, again, a great coping mechanism. If someone's angry, I would even say, why don't you volunteer? Have you guys gotten involved in volunteering in some way or the other? Right? We volunteer for various things. Volunteer, you give blood. You volunteer in the community. Right? Various volunteering things people do. Volunteering activities. Here's another way to volunteer. Someone's angry. They need someone to catch the ball. In other words, they want someone to be the bin into which they can discard their rubbish. How about you volunteer? This is a Shramadana. Is it not? Don't we not engage in Shramadana, go around cleaning the neighborhood, right? Picking up litter and rubbish that people have dropped everywhere, collecting them into bags and go and discard them, right? Cleaning the environment. Do we not do that? Have you not done that? Yes. So here's another Shramadana you can do. There's a guy who's angry. They've got rubbish they want to throw away. Why don't you go and become the bin? That's a Shramadana. You're lending your ear. Someone's angry. What should you say? Hey, let me. Usually what we do is if someone's angry, you avoid them. That's the natural instinct. Someone's angry, you avoid talking to them. But really, you can earn a lot of merit. What they're looking for is someone to vent their anger with. How about you volunteer? I think I shared with you a situation that happened in my life. There was a person that, this happened after I had become a monk. There's a particular, there's a person who is, whenever you're on the phone with them, usually they get very angry. Okay, this person, a male person, gets very angry. And I usually try and avoid getting on the phone with this person. So one day, this person had sent a message within the Sumanahandro that he wanted to talk to me. And now I know when I pick up the phone, I'm just going to get sworn at or going to get shouted at. And so I try and avoid these situations because I didn't like that. Then one day Guru Hamd realized that I was avoiding this. So one day, in fact, I even took the phone to Guru Swaminathan. I said, Swaminathan, I think this person wants to talk to you. Do you mind? He said, why does he want to talk to me? I don't know, just why don't you answer the phone and see? I said, no, you should tell me seriously. Is he wanting to talk to me or does he want to talk to you? So I looked down and then he realized, I see, okay. You've got a problem. That's a defilement. You need to work on it. So he forced me to pick up the phone and answer the call. So then that day I realized, here's a person who's angry. They just need somebody to vent their vexation. Have you not realized a lot of people, when they get angry, after they've vented their anger, they're just normal people. They're so cool after that. Like a Coke can. If you shake it enough and then once you take the lid off, then there's, all the fizzy stuff, all that, the effervescence. That happens for a little while and after that it's just normal. Like any old drink. All the fizz goes away. So they just need someone to vent their anger, vent their vexation. How about you volunteer yourself for that project? See, if we begin to see it like that, now you're all looking for opportunities to go and be a volunteer for someone else to vent their vexation. So much so that even in the workplace, if the boss wants someone to point his or her finger at, and tell someone off in the workplace, I would go and volunteer myself. I wouldn't back then, but today I would go and volunteer. Go and volunteer yourself. Anyone want to vent their anger on somebody? You can put an ad in the paper. Anybody who wants to vent their anger, volunteer available. Please contact. See, now, when you begin to see this as in this way, you are beginning to see opportunities rather than problems. We spoke about this some time ago. You begin to see opportunities rather than challenges. That's why I said, remember, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenges. Wish for more wisdom. What I'm trying to give you is a new perspective, because the glass can be both half empty as well as half full. It's just a difference in perspective. You're talking about the same thing. Half empty, half full. You're talking about the same thing. Just depends on how you look at it. If when you see an angry man and you can see that they're really angry, they want to shout at somebody, you think, walk away, walk away, walk away. How about you change your perspective and think, here's an opportunity for me to earn merit, because what they need is somebody to vent their anger with. Let me go and volunteer myself. So, keep yourself safe. Okay, so if they've got a weapon in their hand, then don't walk away. But what I'm saying is, if it's a normal situation where they just want someone to vent their anger, you can be that person. Have you heard of agony aunts? There are people who are like that. When someone's got a problem, we call them Duggan Naralas. Right? Duggan Naralas. I'm a Duggan Narala now at the monastery. Someone has a problem, come and talk to me. Because usually what people need is just someone to talk to. A lot of the time, I don't know if you realize this, a lot of people, they have both the problem and the solution. They have it inside of them. All they need is someone to talk to, so that the problem and the solution can be taken out of them. They just need someone, they just need an ear. What they don't realize is they could just go and do the same thing looking at a rubber tree. They could do that. Or they could do it sitting in front of a rock. They could do that. But of course, you need someone who is empathetic, who have emotions, who has feelings, so you can have a conversation. Most of the time when you talk to people, all you need to do is listen to them, and they will come up with the problem, and they'll also come up with the solution. All you need to do is just listen to them. If you haven't had this experience, then you need to. A lot of the time, all you need to do is listen to them. Problem and solution are both with them. You just need to listen to, okay. So what do you think we need to do about this? They've come to you looking for answers. Just turn it back on them. So how do you think we should handle this problem? What sort of ideas do you have about this? Samanas, I think if you do this, yes, that's really good. Yeah, let's try that. I didn't say anything. I didn't offer anything new. All I did was listen to them. But did I not earn merit in doing that? Because I allowed them. I was just a sounding board. I was just there for them to bounce their balls and to see which of them bounce back, which of them can carry. I was just doing that. So that's a huge service. This is Ramadana. So you can use that as another technique. So you've got 3 techniques, I think. 3 we talked about how you can deal with people who are angry at you, without you getting angry, without you coming back with a similar response, how you can take a moment, buy yourself some time to not become emotional about it. Because if you become emotional, now you have 2 patients. Without you becoming emotional about it, how do you distance yourself from that situation? Mentally, physically be there, but distance yourself from that situation and look at the problem objectively and not make it subjective. The moment you make it subjective, now it's your problem. And finding a problem when you are in a problem, that's not easy. It's very difficult. So that's to do with dvesha or anger. What about raga? When you're feeling desire, when desire tends to be the problem that you have. So we spoke about one of these yesterday in the Sinhala sermon. A lot of the time, especially young people, one of the problems that they have is their addiction, or if not an addiction, they enjoy watching pornography. So this is raga. Or perhaps looking at things which can ignite desire in their mind, or sensuality. That's all to do with raga, right? So how do you deal with these situations? Again, anicca dukkha anatta is the answer. There is no other answer. There is no other permanent fix for this. That is the bullet. That is the silver bullet. Every other technique is a coping technique. It's a coping mechanism. It's not the perfect answer. Do you all understand that? I keep emphasizing this because I don't want you all to walk away thinking, right, from today onwards, I'm just going to do that. It doesn't work like that. These are all coping mechanisms. Okay? So let's say a guy sees a good-looking girl at a party or somewhere, or walking on the street, a good-looking girl, and now you're feeling desire and sensuality, these feelings are taking the better of you. You're overcome by sensual feelings, and now you want to practice anicca dukkha anatta, but those feelings of desire are so strong and so severe that you don't have the sanity of mind to practice this. So here are some ways you can cope with such situations. One of the things you can do is, if you accept the fact that rebirth exists, okay, you got to accept that first. It's only on that basis you can do this. If you don't accept that, then you can't. This doesn't work. If you accept that rebirth exists, okay, so the concept of rebirth is real. This person that you are feeling sensual thoughts towards, with the Buddha having said that there's not a single being in this universe who has not been a mother to you or a father to you, this person at whom you're having sensual thoughts will have surely been a mother to you at some point, wouldn't they? Right? It could have been in your last birth. So in your last birth, this girl who you're having sensual thoughts towards, desirous thoughts towards, was your mother, who cradled you, fed you, looked after you, shed sweat, blood and tears on your behalf. Do you think it's right that you can now look at them and have sensual thoughts towards them? Thoughts of desire and sensual thoughts? That just doesn't, it seems so wrong, does it not? So on the basis that you accept that rebirth is real, if you don't accept rebirth, then this doesn't work. But on the basis that rebirth actually works, and if you accept that the Buddha's word, whereby he said, there's not a single creature who's not been a mother to you, who's not been a father to you, who's not been a brother or sister to you. That's how long you've come through in samsara. That's how long you've come through in samsara. Then there's not a single person that you can see who has not been a close connection of yours. So if you're sensing, if you're seeing, it could be a male or a female, okay, whichever applies in your situation, and you're feeling sensual thoughts or desirous thoughts, and they're so strong that you can't overcome them. One of the best coping techniques, again, coping techniques, that you got to put that in capitals. Coping, this is a coping mechanism. You got to realize that actually they've been a mother to you, they've also been a father to you. How can you today have sensual thoughts towards someone who was a mother to you in your previous birth? How can you have sensual thoughts towards someone who's been a father to you in your previous births? I mean, that just seems so wrong, does it not? See, I mean, it brings up feelings of disgust more than anything else. So that's one coping mechanism. It's only a coping mechanism. So that's one. Another one could be, usually when you see someone dressed up glamorously, okay, usually this is when there's an opportunity for such feelings to arise. They're dressed up quite glamorously, right? Good looking hair, they've done their makeup, right? The full works, all bells and whistles, right? And they're walking along the road, right? Doing whatever. If they've gone through all this effort to make them glamoured up, to make themselves look this great, that says a lot about their state of mind. I want you now to put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes. For someone to have woken up in the morning and walked up to their mirror and looked at themselves and said, geez, I need to put makeup on my face, look at it. Isn't that what they had thought about that morning? To have applied all that makeup on themselves, lipstick and Q-tex and all the whatever rest of things you do to make yourself look good, all of that stuff they thought they needed to apply on themselves because they themselves weren't content with the way they looked. Agreed? They themselves are not content with the way they look. In fact, they stood in front of the mirror and said, look at me, I look like a poster for the on a calendar that was printed for the hell. Apayata gahapu poster wage. Right? So this is not fitting, this image is not, I don't like this image, so I need to change it. So now you are having these desirous thoughts of sensuality towards a person who does not feel good even about themselves. So how could you feel good about somebody? How could you have sensual thoughts about someone who does not feel good even about themselves? If you ask them, are you pretty? The answer you're going to get back is, no, I'm ugly. That's why I had to make myself look pretty, by applying all this stuff on me. Is this the path to Nibbana? No, because this is not contemplation of Anicca Dukkha Anatta. This is actually looking at the Adina. Okay, this is that side of it. This is not Anicca Dukkha Anatta. This is the Adina side of it. So this is not the path to liberation, but it will give you an opportunity, it will buy you some time to apply the principles of Anicca Dukkha Anatta. Because sometimes if those sensual thoughts are so strong and so severe, you will not be able to come to your sense of mind whereby you can apply the doctrine and to seek your freedom at that point in time. Does that make sense to you? Right? Where you find yourself in a situation where those thoughts are so strong and so severe, you just can't break yourself from the situation. You know what you're doing is wrong. You know what the way you're feeling is wrong. You know that what you're about to say is wrong, but those feelings are so severe, so strong that you can't break yourself away from it. And then later on you're going to regret. Here's the problem. That's the biggest problem. You're going to regret later on. A few moments later, maybe a few hours later, or maybe a day later, you're going to think, damn it, why did I do that? That was wrong of me. Why did I do that? Why did I make use of that opportunity? I shouldn't have done that. And she's like a sister to me. But you only think about that later, after the fact. Now it's too late. The deed has been done. She's like a sister to me. She's like an aunt to me. She's like a mother to me. Why did I do that? How could I have had thoughts like that about her? But these things come after the fact. So you need a moment, you need a few moments to buy yourself some time whereby you can walk away and practice Anicca Dukkha Anatta. And that's what I'm proposing you. These are our coping mechanisms. Not the answer. This is not the silver bullet. Right? So if when you see someone who's all glamoured up, all that makeup, right, head to toe, you need to ask yourself, put yourself in that person's shoes. What did this person think about themselves when they stood in front of the mirror? Now tell me, if a girl walks by, right, or a boy walks by, and he smells nice, he or she smells really nice, really lovely, usually that ignites feelings of desire in someone, right? Wow, she smells really good. I wonder what her name is. This is normally their response. But that's not what you should be feeling. If you're for you to be able to come into a state of mind whereby you can tell yourself, that smells good. Why did she have to apply that? So she's got perfume on her. Why? Normally the question is, wonder what that perfume might be. No, don't ask what. Ask why. Ask why. Why perfume? Not what perfume. Thank you, madam. Not what perfume. Ask why perfume. Why did she have to put a perfume on her? Why did he have to put that perfume on him? Then you find the answer. That's because even she found herself smelling bad. Even she sniffed herself and thought, at this smelling like this, no one's going to want to look at me or come even close to me, so I had better put some perfume on myself. See, now how can you feel that you want to, how can you have sensual thoughts about a person like that? If anything, should you not be feeling sorry about that person? Here's a person who's not content with themselves. Where I used to live, a lot of young girls, they go through this enlargement surgeries, right? Breast enlargement and various other features of their body. They go under the knife to augment them or make them change the sizes, right? See, for a guy to find that attractive, I think there's something really wrong. Because what does that tell about that person? If you observe someone who's gone under the knife, changed the size of whatever part of their body, and then for someone to be observing that person and say, wow, now that looks good, does that not tell something? The fact that she or he had to go under the knife to change a part of his body, does that not tell you that he or she is not content with his or her own body? Well, if he or she is not content with their own body, how can somebody else be? That's like, I've got a car, I can't drive it. Would you like to borrow it? I have a car. You can't drive it. I mean, I tried, you can't drive it. Would you like to borrow it? Why would you? It can't be driven. So why would you try and borrow it? See, think about it. So that's another coping mechanism. It's not the silver bullet, it's simply a coping mechanism. Ask yourself, why did that person have to put makeup? Not what the makeup is, but why makeup? Not what the perfume is, but why perfume? Not what that shoes are, why those shoes? See, some people spend a lot of money on shoes. Some people spend a lot of money on accessories, earrings and garlands and necklaces and all sorts of things. Again, I'm not saying don't do any of these things. If you live in normal society, you're going to have to conform with usual practices in society. Do them, that's fine. But at least when you do them, you know why you do them, right? When you go in front of the mirror and you brush your hair, when you apply some makeup, is it wrong to apply makeup? Is it? No, of course not. It's not wrong to apply makeup. As a monk, I'm not permitted to use any makeup. As a monk, I'm not permitted to use any deodorant or anything like that. I'm not permitted. Had the Buddha not laid out any rules against that, I would have. Why? Because that smell can be offensive to somebody else. I have no problem with that. But a sweaty armpit can be quite offensive to somebody else. Because people who live in this world, the rest of them are not arahants. Only to an arahant does a smell not smell disgusting. To them there are no lovely smells or disgusting smells. To them the smell is just a smell. So if you travel in public transport or you are in the presence of others, then please make yourself presentable. And please continue to do so until you enter robes. If you are in robes, then there is no longer the requirement to dress yourself up, to beautify yourself. You don't need any cosmetics. Right? So we live a very simple life. But had I been a layperson, I would have continued to do it. Even today I would have done it. I would have worn a deo, I would have use whatever creams and things like that, just so that I'm presentable. If you work in the workplace, if you have to deal with customers, you got to look the part, right? You can't just be good at your job. You got to look the part. If you don't look good, then you're not going to be of any value to your business most of the time. So it's fine, do them. But as you do it, ask yourself, why is it that I have to do it? When you brush your teeth in the morning, ask yourself, why is it I have to brush? So then you don't enjoy the experience. You just realize that I have to do it. Because otherwise the consequences are quite terrible. Therefore I'm having to do it. So then when you put yourself in a situation where you're now having sensual thoughts towards a girl or towards a boy, because they have dressed up glamorously, lipstick, beautiful hair, lovely dark eyes, right? All that stuff that's going on, perfume, you've got to stop and ask yourself the question, why? Then you'll find the answer. It's because she is not content with the way she looks. So she has had to change herself. How can I be content with something when it's not content with itself?